as we enter into Maundy Thursday of Easter week, I want us to just simply reflect on the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus and what all of that means for us. So instead of offering questions at the end for you to think about at the end of this devotional, instead, I would like this day for us to just be a day of prayer and reflection as we all journey closer to the cross together. Well, it's now Passover, the day that celebrates when Yahweh God led his nation, Israel, out of Egyptian slavery. So it was on this day that Jesus told his disciples to go and make preparations for their Passover meal. And they were to find a man who was carrying a jar of water, because that man would allow them to eat their meal in his upper room, in his guest room. So when the hour came, Jesus took the cup and bread and told his disciples that these elements represent his blood and his body that was given for them. And he told them to eat and drink and do this in remembrance of him. Well, then Jesus predicts that one of them is going to betray him, and he knew it was Judas. And this sparked some lively conversation that led into an argument among the disciples. They wondered which of them was the greatest among Jesus. Well, Jesus explained to them that if they wanted to be great, well, then they needed to learn how to serve other people, just as he was doing. So then the conversation shifts to Peter. And Jesus said that he has prayed for Peter because he knew that Peter was going to deny him 3 times. And he prayed that after Peter comes back to him, that Peter would be able to just strengthen his brothers in the Lord. Peter is astonished. He said, "Lord, I'm ready to go with you to prison and even to death." But later on in the Gospels, we discover that Peter wasn't quite as faithful as he thought, because he did indeed deny Jesus 3 times. But before we get there, after they were finished with the meal, they went out to the Mount of Olives, to a place called the Garden of Gethsemane. And that's the place that you're looking at right now. I was there this past summer. I was blessed to actually pray there this past summer. And I remember it was incredibly quiet and somber. So when Jesus and the disciples entered the garden, Jesus withdrew from them about a stone's throw away. And he knelt down and he prayed these words, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. Now, I imagine that Jesus was crying out as King David did in Psalm 22. This isn't a quiet prayer. Jesus is in so much distress that he needed an angel to come and strengthen him. Jesus knew what was about to happen to him. His friend Judas was about to betray him, and he was going to be arrested. And one of his best friends, Peter, was about to deny him 3 times. And he would even be blindfolded, mocked, and beaten by those who were guarding him, all before the end of the day. Jesus knew that the powers of darkness were rising up against him.